get started with them. All right, so we have a quorum, one member missing at the moment, and that's Todd. So I'll call the meeting to order and start with the minutes of the last meeting, which Rick sent around. And there was one correction I saw, or a note from Todd that was sent in.
Yep.
So, any other comments on the minutes other than the one that Todd sent in? No? Move to accept by someone?
I move we accept the minutes of the last meeting.
Second?
Second.
Dave? All right, so we have a...
Is that with the correction?
With
the correction.
Okay.
Move to accept with the correction sent by Todd. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So minutes are accepted. Treasurer's report, probably pretty similar to last time, I would guess.
It's exactly, but it's only the end of May. June wasn't posted yet, but I don't think anything else has happened. But just to help you out, Open Space has an association with 3 different accounts here in Hubbardston. There's something called the Open Space donation expense account. There's $248.34 in there. There's another one called the Rider account that has a balance of $4,191.32, and that is used exclusively for Mount Jeff. And the idea is to keep replenishing it. We haven't figured that part out yet.
What's the balance from the rider?
No, Rider, $4,191.32 after the height work of last.
Is that exclusively for that, or was that,
Rider's
is that a
Mount Jeff.
Jassy-ism?
It's directed for use on the Mount Jeff property.
Exclusively, we can't use it for anything else.
Okay.
But we should be trying to replenish it in some way, and so that's something we need to work on. And then there's something called the Hubbardston Trust account, which is the hay monies every year. And that actually gathers a little interest. And currently it's $13,240.90, and we have to go through the Parks and Rec for permission to use it, but we have access to it.
Yeah, and that's the fields right up by you, including Malone and the hay fields up there, that gets put out for contract every 3 years, I believe, or 5? 5 years.
I remember that.
And so it's essentially bid on, and then whoever bids the most, assuming they have a reasonable proposal, is awarded that for that lease. I guess it's like a hay lease for 5 years. Let's see, guests. Tim Hawley, who lives up on Mount Jeff Road. He's interested in the Open Space Committee, and per your email, you're interested in becoming a member. So he's become educated through Dave and myself in the process, and now knows where to go to find the town clerk. So we're all set on that. So if you want to follow through, then go ahead and go see Laurie. And we have Katie Young join us tonight, and I assume this is in conjunction with Destiny's project?
If you had any questions, but yeah, that, and it's easier to hear you guys sitting here than it is on the video. Because
Okay.
it does not pick you, like, half your voices up at all.
Okay.
So, being the liaison, it's just...
Well, that was one of my old business items, so we can talk to that first. And actually, I don't think at our last meeting we brought up any aspect of the CR relative, we didn't take a vote, but there was pretty much...
Which one?
The one relative to the work that Destiny wants to do at Malone Road.
Oh, well, my understanding was that she was going to scout for a location, and then we'd
And then we go there.
Right.
And she did.
Okay.
And that's what's
All right.
happening, the sequence of events
So
is happening.
that has been done, correct?
Yeah, she's down to 2, she keeps kicking back and forth 2 spots. That first one in the junction that she originally was set on, but then that spot that you showed her, the path in between the pines that has the bench on one side and the spot on the other, she kind of likes that spot too.
That's Bobby's bench.
Huh?
That's where Bobby's bench is.
Yeah, that bench, yes.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 spots, and she keeps going back and forth. She's like, Mom, just tell them one of those. And I'm like, okay. So she's busy planting, I don't know, plants outside. She's got like 50 buckets, and she's whatever. She's doing stuff. So on her own. But yeah, so she's between those two spots, so she couldn't come tonight because she had to finish planting her plants, so. Which
Okay,
has nothing to do with
I
that.
saw somewhere per the report that somebody said it was approximately 10-foot perimeter,
Yeah, thereabouts.
10-foot diameter
I'm
area.
just going from memory from the rough draft.
And Rick did invite Jassy down to talk about it. So what do we need in order to present something to North County?
Nothing terribly formal. Did we actually receive a sketch of the?
Well, she handed out a sketch at the last meeting.
She handed
We
it
passed
around,
but
we don't have
but I
access
think-
to it.
I think.
We probably need that.
It would be good to have a final plan. That was her rough draft.
Yeah.
And,
Or somebody could just call Jassy and say, do you want to see
well,
any details? Or
I dropped her a note today
okay.
to let her know that, we were talking to Destiny about this and would pass along the information to her when we got it, So because North County holds a CR,
Yeah,
probably be courteous at the very least to,
just ask them, like.
so if Destiny could, even if she hasn't decided on the location yet, finalize her plan.
Okay,
Obviously, things are gonna change between now and then, but just so Jassy and North County can have an idea what the plan is.
Okay.
And then we'll present that and give it to her and.
okay. You
And,
want her to email it to you? You want me to drop it in the box?
Email's
or-
fine,
Okay,
email's fine.
all right.
All right, so who's going to be the
Then I'd
communicator?
have to come down here.
So Rick, you're going to be the communicator with North County, so you're going to take
Sure.
this and
Yep.
just run it by Jassy for their opinion/concurrence. And what's the title of this? To bring Tim up to speed.
Yeah, it's her gold award project for Girl Scouts. She wants to do a, like, kind of fairy garden installation, like an art installation in the woods. So,
Along with a telephone.
yes, along with the
Which I find
telephone.
to be
Yeah, a little bit
intriguing.
further down so you can call your family members, that have passed away.
Well, that's what Rick asked me, and I said, so
Yeah.
what was the telephone about? And I said, I think it's to sort of, connect with people that.
Yes, that's like a separate thing, but it's like, it kind of, like, I wouldn't put it somewhere rant out to, like I kind of keep it with like an art installation, but it's not necessarily in it. It'd be like
Yeah.
really close to it though, but maybe like a little bit.
Or that set of
further.
trees, remember? we
Yeah, or
were trying to
something,
think
yeah,
like a
so
plan,
it's
yeah.
like a little bit,
It'll work, yeah.
we'll figure it out. Something that we're not gonna
All
destroy
right,
anything.
you get enough information to follow through with Jassy then?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So just for everybody's information though, the sites that Katie was talking about are right where the junction of Between the Pines and Dottie Rock Trail are. They come together there where that sign that's kind of leaning halfway over.
Okay.
There's a clearing there between two large pine trees. It's almost like a stage. And then the other place is right across from
It's on
Bobby's bench.
it's on our side of the property line, right?
Yes.
That's a corner right there.
Yeah. There's a marker right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yes,
on this
yeah, I'm
side.
sorry, yeah.
Yeah, there's an NBC marker right
Yeah.
there.
And then the other question is this something we need to vote on as a committee that we're good with it?
Because Todd brought that up. That we
Yeah,
haven't
that was
voted.
Todd's
Or is
question.
this purely a
It's weird.
North County thing?
Well,
Wouldn't hurt.
yeah, I mean, we need to notify them. Whether or not we need to take a vote on it, I don't know. I don't care.
Sure, all right, let's, to make it official, I mean, there was a little bit of question relative.
Well, that was Todd's question.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
Todd's question. So since he had a question on it, that there was no official approval from this committee, does somebody want to make a motion to?
It's a little vague, still a little vague what we're approving, but I guess conceptual.
I don't know.
Conceptual.
You know, her rough draft that she provided last week was pretty specific, I thought. I mean, it had dimensions, it had what the elements were gonna be in it. It had how she
But we
saw
don't
them
actually
being
have
laid
it.
out and stuff like that.
So we don't actually have it.
Oh, we don't have it. Well,
He
why
doesn't
don't we
have a
wait?
copy of it in hand.
She can get it to us, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, either hard copy or
Yeah, just get
email,
communicated
whatever.
Yeah.
and send it around.
Yep.
I just didn't want to let another month go by if we had to approve it, that's all.
Because she has to get the paperwork started on the Girl Scout end too. So it's a chicken and egg thing. And my only reservation, just so you've heard it too, is to be sure she wants to include some plants, to be sure that it doesn't introduce any invasive species. Just to be sure it'd be something that would be there. Most of it is available on site. I mean, you know, the wood and stuff to make.
Yeah, it's, like
But
it
she
wouldn't
did
be
mention some
anything.
plants,
Yeah.
so just to be sure.
Yeah, I think she was thinking like lily of the valley and things like that, so I don't.
Is that it?
Well, here's how I'm thinking about how to just phrase this, because Mark's right, the only thing we've seen is just a conceptual thing, but per what Rick said, there's reasonable information in that to identify the scope of the project. So how about a motion from somebody that says something to the effect that, we'll take a vote of approval or a vote to approve the project based upon the conceptual plan, and Rick verifying that the final plan, what you're going to get, is consistent with the conceptual plan. I mean, if you don't want to wait, then we need to have something like that, and you can be the judge relative to whether it's consistent with the conceptual plan.
Okay.
That it's not like double in size or things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what the conceptual plan is, right?
Yeah, the problem with waiting a month is, she's got to get started on her paperwork with the Girl
Is that
Scouts.
a motion, something like that? So can somebody paraphrase that, or do you want me to say it again?
Why don't you make
Why
the
don't you
motion?
make
All right.
He just
All
wants
right,
to
I'm
make
not
that
sure.
motion.
All right, then, I'll make the motion. I'm putting a motion before the committee to conditionally approve Destiny's approach for the, what kind of garden?
Fairy garden.
Fairy garden, based upon the conceptual plan that was presented at our last meeting, and we will give Rick the authority to compare the final plan, which he will receive, to be sure that it's consistent with the conceptual plan. That's a lot of words, but need to get something in like that. So that's the
I'll
motion.
second that motion.
Second, is Mark seconded? All in favor? Aye. All right, done deal. So you're all set, you can stay and listen. So you can go ahead and get that plan to Rick, and then you can just communicate with Rick, and Rick has the information to communicate with North County.
Okay, yep, Destiny will take care of that.
Okay. Gates Foundation. I still haven't taken the pictures of the concrete, but then we did not have that meeting to just sort of finalize what we want to do up there. Do we want to reschedule that?
Yeah.
Or is there any other info on it? But
There isn't any other info. The meeting up at Mount Jeff got postponed because of the rain that day.
That morning, she
Yeah,
emailed,
thankfully.
which I was not surprised.
And we asked her to, give us some other dates that she and other members of the Historic Commission might make it up there, and we haven't heard from her. So I
Okay.
guess I'll follow up with her. I mean, I think we should, at this point, I think we should proceed with what we had in mind, and if they want to join us, fine.
okay, do we want to just meet up there again just to finalize it, or?
I don't know.
Well,
I've seen
all right,
enough.
so the plan that we had, and to bring Tim up to speed on this, around the Gates Hill Foundation, there's a really nice core stone foundation.
Mhm.
There's also the extended portions of the building with concrete work that wasn't done terribly well, but that was, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 years ago, whatever, so that's not surprising. So that's all crumbling and falling in, and that makes it very difficult to maintain that with any kind of like mowing equipment. If we could mow around that foundation, that would make the maintenance of it to keep that clear and the foundation exposed like it is now much, much easier. Otherwise, it's just going to all go back up, and then we're just going to have to do the same thing again in years to do. So the idea was to take the crumbled foundation, which to this committee didn't appear to be of any significant historical value, the piers, this stone foundation, yeah, we want to preserve that. That's why we cleared it all out. But the buried concrete rubble, it just gets in the way of maintenance. So the idea is to get that out, and that we can take that to Graves and they can process it for recycled concrete. I just want to get the town to agree to take it out of there. So I'll get up there and take a picture and get that to the highway department. All right. So that's that. On great news, Mark and I had a chance to shake hands with the governor thanks to Mark's work. So his grant was approved, and congratulations to all of us.
Yeah, Mark.
What was that?
Oh, it's the grant certificate.
Oh, you got a certificate along with it? All right. So, the, now,
That's a $10,000 grant. That's our practice grant.
Practice grant.
well, we'll talk about that in a second.
The next one should be bigger.
So the next step is implementation. So any words on implementation?
Well,
Is this what it's gonna look like, that road?
I'm really hoping to get, this is a grant for trail
Oh,
signs.
I've seen it. I've actually seen it digitally. I've already shared it digitally.
I'm really hoping to install the signage this fall and get this project done.
Yeah. You're bleeding pretty good there.
Should be paper towel.
I don't know what that was.
Paper towel?
I'd really like to get them in this fall. They're not making it easy. We still haven't, it was pretty late getting the grant approval, and they still haven't sent out the contract documents that we'll have to have the town sign in order to actually kick off the project. So it's going to be a challenge, but I'm still hoping that we'll be able to do it this fall. There's lead time on the sign display, the aluminum display cases and the printing of the signs. And we
Oh, you have a Band-Aid. She's gonna have you mask it up.
She'll have the
Mask around it.
She'll have the EMTs down in a minute.
So there's a variety of, and we need to get the graphic design approved by the state for the signs on the state forest. So there's a bunch of stuff that needs to happen before we can actually move to construction.
Okay.
But hopefully it is gonna happen this fall, because my springs are busy.
Guess what? I didn't hear you.
My springs tend to be busy.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to do this project in the fall.
So that being said, relative to funding scenario, so how is this gonna work?
The town needs to front the money
Okay.
for the display cases and sign printing. Actually, I was curious, with the various forces being recalled from overseas, is there any further word on Ryan as to whether
No, he's not coming. He's there the whole time.
he's there for the
Yeah.
expected duration?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay. Anyway, before he left, Ryan, I ran all this by Ryan, and he said that, yeah, there are accounts that we can front the money from and get it reimbursed, 4 or 5 months later.
Okay.
So as soon as I have the contract documents, I need to go talk to David Nixon and get all those wheels moving.
Okay, and those contract come from the grant people? With the contract
The
documents?
documents come from the Mass Trails
Mass
people.
Trails grant?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, any questions on it? Go ahead.
But anyway, like I said, Ryan said there was an account out there. If there's a problem with that for some reason, the other possibility is the
trust,
right?
And then we could.
No, the Hay account money.
That's what I mean.
The Hay account.
Trust.
Oh, it's a trust, yeah.
Because it's 13 now, we
Right.
should, this is the next discussion, hopefully be getting some hay funds in, but
Yeah.
that's another discussion. How much input do you want for the sign design?
Max says none, I got it.
Well, you've seen it once. I'll send it around again.
Oh, I've seen it. That must have been memorable.
It's in the grant request.
I mean, we reviewed that before we put the grant
Okay,
application
so
out.
that's all done.
I would prefer at this point that we not do
Everything stayed the
major
same.
graphic design changes, but
Okay.
especially since I'll send it around again and you can think about it further.
Yes, please
'cause-
refresh my
It's on the
memory.
drive, isn't it?
Is it?
Yes,
Okay,
Yeah.
forget it, I'll figure it out
it's
myself.
on the Google Drive.
Take a gander.
I mean, given that they've approved the grant request with that stuff in the grant request,
So what does it look like?
Yeah, no, there's still a review. There's still a review
no, I know,
cycle
but
that has
I
to go
mean,
through.
I don't imagine we can stray too far from that.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to see anything dramatically
And it has a
different.
rustic look that will be very appropriate. Right.
It looks a lot like the Mount Jeff
Exactly.
kiosk.
Yeah.
Do I have to paint it?
Yeah, how about maintenance?
Powder coated aluminum.
Oh, lovely. Lovely.
What help do you need from us?
Well,
An auger.
Short of digging holes and when it comes to that, but
yeah, I mean, that would be one way that this could play out. If the grant envisions using DCR laborers who are seasonal employees and evaporate sometime around the end of October. So if we haven't gotten to planting posts before the laborers leave, if we're willing to put more work into it, or your
Yeah.
wobble auger,
Yeah, the wobble auger would
we
be perfect for that.
might want to go that route, but we'll
I
see.
want to go that route anyway.
We'll see how the timing works out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the wobble auger would be perfect for the 4x4 post. Okay, any other comments on that?
Just
That's
bravo
great
Mark.
news.
Yeah.
The,
Yeah,
It was a lot of work and got it done.
those would be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be
A
nice.
few
Yeah.
lost people, hopefully.
Want to share any thoughts on another vision of another grant?
Oh, the next grant?
Plant seeds?
Yeah, I mean, once I've established street cred with this project, the next application I have in mind is extending a trail loop out of the Fieldstone Farm property, getting up to the Mid-State Trail, looping back on Mid-State.
That would be great.
I've already scouted it. It's definitely possible.
Little request, could we do a field trip and see that? I would love to see that. If it's not too muddy.
Maybe in the
At some
fall.
point.
Is it through like a little swamp area, did you say, that needs to be negotiated?
Hopefully not, but we'd have to see whether one of the players on my preferred route is DCR water supply, and they aren't tremendously favorable for trails, but it's only 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
So, anyway, if that doesn't, if we're not able to make that case to their satisfaction, an alternate route does go through a bit of a wooded wetland, which would make the project more challenging.
There are alternatives.
That's DCR Parks,
Yeah.
who are more in favor of trails.
Probably better take a trip in the fall, early fall or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe September.
Yeah. No deer flies and stuff like that, so make it
Sure.
more pleasant. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Sounds great, yeah.
Yeah, that would get a lot of support, and we were just looking at Mass Trails puts out on their website a synopsis of all the grants that were awarded. Very few words about any details within the grant, but there's a couple, like they're going to put in a bridge or a trail or it connects to here and stuff like that. Is it possible to get details on any of the grants? Are those published anywhere? The actual grant itself? grant application?
No,
No?
that's not published. They do publish the list of who they gave money to.
Yeah, so that's what we were talking
With a
about.
brief project description,
Yeah.
but not the full
I
application
mean, just
package.
relative to putting some of those into context, this would certainly be something high on the list that would get a lot of recognition. I mean, to put it in perspective, Harvard Mass got 10 grand for a tool shed to keep trail maintenance equipment. So I mean that's sort of a personal thing. It didn't have trail connectivity, et cetera, et cetera. So that's about as impersonal as it can get. But,
I haven't looked, I assume that list is published on the
yes,
website right now. I
Yep,
didn't check
yep,
it. but-
yep. Steph found that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, on this Mid-State Trail loop, I'd be looking for either Cynthia or Jackie to jump on as the sponsor
Yeah,
through their land trust,
Absolutely.
because the grant application has to be
probably.
by,
both.
by
Both would both
Well, no,
make
it
sense?
would
Oh,
be
has to
one or
be
the other.
one. Yeah,
Well, it passes through both of their lands.
Yeah.
right, right.
But one would be the grant recipient.
Would you
Oh, I
feel
get it.
comfortable
Because
with?
same deal, you've got to front the money and then get reimbursed for it, and you've got to be either a town or a nonprofit,
Right.
which the land trusts are.
I'm a nonprofit.
Would it be premature to bounce it off of Cynthia or Jassy?
As soon as I I'm still resurfacing from my
Yeah, it's-
big crunch.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
all right.
Yes,
little premature
they're
for
going to
that.
be, they're going to be the first on my list.
Okay,
And right after that, I'm Audubon, because it passes through, the Mid-State Trail passes through Audubon property.
that's exciting, I think. That's-
Oh, yeah. Well, just a lot of
Can you
people
walk
would be
your
very,
dogs on Audubon's property?
No. But it's too
So-
bad, they just don't do it.
all
Other
right.
trails that dogs can be on.
I had haying on here. I don't, is anything new up on haying activity? I haven't talked to Lance at all to see how he's doing.
Susan and I took a spin by there today.
Did they ever hay the big fields?
I don't think so. Their hay isn't as tall as you would expect from a well-maintained hay field, like, you know,
Yeah,
they're fairly long. A lot of the grass has fallen over, gone to seed, a lot of weeds.
A lot of Queen Anne's lace there.
So the only ones we saw that were hay were the one next to Mount Jeff there and the one across the street.
this is just his second year into the
Yeah.
lease, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Well,
And I mean, I don't know what he uses the hay for, if cows or, he certainly doesn't use it for horses because it's full of weeds.
yeah.
All the fields are, so they're only gonna get worse. And if they don't get cut early enough before the weeds go to seed,
Probably I should have a talk with Lance. May not be a comfortable call, but that's the way it goes.
I mean, didn't he say that he had a crew that
He had some helpers, and I haven't heard anything about how he's doing since his incident.
since it's already, for all intents and purposes, August, we're only gonna get one cutting out of it this year.
Yeah,
And the Malone field that his dad converted to a hay field at one point is more weeds than grass.
yeah. All right. Is it possible for him to get out of the lease? Suppose he- I mean, just relative to the situation, what's happened, I don't know if anybody is aware of that, but he had his foot amputated. So if something happens where somebody can't continue with a lease, then what happens then?
We have the option to terminate the lease at any point.
Okay,
Oh.
all right,
We can decide that
okay,
performance is not what we were looking for and put it out again.
yeah.
Did anybody else bid on that?
I don't think so, not this last time. But
So,
we have at least one person that has indicated that he would, and that'd be
has he seen the
Ray
fields?
Sawyer. What?
Has he seen the fields? Do you know?
I don't know if he's been up by there or not, but He knows about fields with weeds, and he knows how to take care of them, but if he
Yeah,
does...
he's
he
planted that
doesn't.
one field of his about 6 times now. hasn't he?
Yeah, what's going on with that? Yeah, but if it did go up for rebidding, we'd have to open it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's,
Right,
they're
yeah.
green too.
Oh, yeah.
So, and there's
Yeah,
some
more the
reason why I
merrier.
think he might be interested, and I don't know where I heard that.
Who might?
Rick Green?
Maybe.
He's indicated interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was before my time.
All right, so that's it on that, so I'll make that call. That's it for what I had on my list. Anybody else got anything on the agenda? Susan,
Just one
imagine
little
that.
thing, what a surprise, right? The closing of the CR on Fieldstone Farm occurred on July 12th, so it's a done deal.
Oh, excellent.
And we should celebrate,
Yeah.
eh? And-
Yay.
Both
And,
the,
and bravo to Cynthia for just, she just, and her board for having confidence in the project, and now it's open forever. It's fantastic.
both the CR,
And see, what-
both the CR on the east side and the sale of the west side to DCR occurred on that same day.
Oh, so it's like, wow,
And she submitted. an
Yes, she
invoice?
submitted an invoice to CPC, and I think Sandra just has to sign it, and then we can get her paid. So it's in the works, and I
Good.
keep her up to date. So that's where that's at. But thank goodness for all the hard work too, that, the town meeting. It
Yep,
was
that all
successful.
went, that all went very well. The,
Yeah, we're feeling good about it.
have you talked with Cynthia?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
emailed back and
Oh,
forth a
okay.
little
Has
bit.
she indicated anything? Obviously, they've gone through and signed everything.
Yes.
So they assume that they can meet their other balance of the financial burden relative to collections and stuff.
I believe it's a done deal.
Yep.
Yeah, the deal is done, whether or not they collect the rest of the donations.
It may be a long-term financing situation, who knows?
Yeah.
We haven't talked
But,
about it.
we promised that, and I'm sure, it's allocated, it's just a question of getting the signatures and then getting it in on that Thursday, when
Good.
when the warrants go in.
Great.
So it's in the works.
Right. Anything else? Any other new
Um,
business?
Any more thought given to how Hunter Young can help us? We talked about July, August timeframe for help with trail maintenance, because he needs to have that done by September, so July's gone now.
Yeah, we said, didn't we talk about the end of August or no? Or mid-August?
Mid-August.
We were talking early August.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, do we have anything we're gonna be doing at this point?
Well, we could pick, it was a relatively short amount of time. We could just pick one trail. Old Cross could certainly use a lot of trimming, the length of Old Cross. That's got a lot of ingrown areas to
Yes,
it.
that's
Gates Hill is grown in a fair
Yeah,
amount and
Gates Hill.
stuff. So either of those would be, in fact, the two, you could sort of make that a loop. You could
Yeah.
Pack out, could park
Down
up.
one and up the other.
Yeah, you could park up at Mount Jeff, go down Gates Hill, clean up whatever needs to get done there. And it maybe just do the portion of Old Cross headed back up. Although the lower portion is probably what's more grown in. I don't know if you've been out there, but the lower portion is more
Yeah, that's
grown in. But either way, you could do the loop. Probably the most efficient way would be to do a loop that either goes Gates Hill to Old Cross and then either go back up to Mount Jeff. The more efficient, now I'm thinking about it, is if you went towards Canesto and then just trimmed anything along Canesto and back up, then it would be a trail loop and you could clean out anything along the way. How's that?
What is the date for the Bay State ride? October something?
Yes, October 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, somewhere in that time frame.
Well, do we want to tentatively pick a couple dates or something at this point? Is anybody going on vacation in August?
Not us.
Vacation?
Let's pick a date, either next week or the week after.
I can't hear you. Of course I am.
Oh, is there a certain day of the week Hunter can do?
Well, we're free during the days, obviously, weekdays. I don't know.
Okay, weekdays.
Yeah, well, weekdays are, because you know how weekends go. We have
Yeah.
this, that, and the other all scheduled. But I don't know what you all do during the day. You know what I mean? Like,
Sleep.
yeah, I know. They're home from school, so daytime's fine.
So
There's no
there's a
school.
lot of flexibility. is
Yeah,
what I'm
there's
hearing.
no-
Your
yeah, there's
Mornings are much
weekdays.
cooler. Well, mornings are.
Your schedule is very, it changes. It's
Yeah,
constantly changing.
We have people come in the afternoon.
That's what I was thinking, generally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty open. I've got appointments here and there, but they're,
Yeah, I work during the week, but
what's the
We're
matter with you,
sorry.
Dave?
That's terrible. We shouldn't do that. Soon, you can see it. in
yes,
distant-
not too far
not too
away,
distant
yes.
We would
future.
want to
Okay,
pick a day
that's
and.
good.
Voting comes easy when you're retired,
Say,
but it's something.
The ninth.
Monday, Tuesday.
That's a night.
What day is that? I can't, like, did you say a Monday or Tuesday?
Monday, Tuesday. Monday or Tuesday, it looks like the better days.
Yeah.
They don't have anything till 3. How about Monday, August 9th?
Sounds lovely to me.
All right,
What time?
Meet at Mount Jeff at, what, 10 o'clock, 9:30?
Early side.
Early
Yeah.
side?
We're talking August heat here.
Yeah, 9?
So like 8? Okay, 9?
Negotiating going on?
8:30.
8:30.
yeah, I was supposed to say 8:37.
There. Is 8:30 okay? Does that make sense? And bring tools, whatever, right?
Yeah, is this
Yeah,
like,
is
like
Hunter-
loppers and stuff,
Yeah,
is that all?
yeah.
Yeah, is Hunter gonna need tools or are we gonna have?
I got,
You guys-
trust me, you know how many loppers I have.
Is this a chainsaw involved here,
I
or?
don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess
Is there anything big enough for a
I
chainsaw?
haven't noticed any.
Not
What time
not
are we
much.
picking?
Wait,
I'll bring
We have a small electric we could bring.
I'll bring a brush cutter.
8:30, all right.
Cutter,
It's gonna be
brush
cold.
cutter.
and a pole saw.
Yeah.
I'll
It's a
bring a
Monday.
brush cutter, my pole saw's electric, so.
And we're meeting at Mount Jeff?
Correct.
You
Yes.
need water, you need backpack.
Oh, that kind.
lunch.
No, they won't need a lunch, but they'll need a
we'll
interesting
do-
wake-up call.
And that will
3
be
hours?
a one session thing then?
Yeah,
2
like-
hours?
He needs 3 hours.
He needs 3 hours.
3 hours.
3 hours.
Oh, that'd be just about right.
Yeah, bring it to noon.
That's a good sized loop, which you could probably do in a walk in about an hour or something, maybe an hour and a half. But clear and brush and stuff, that'd be,
4 hours probably.
yeah.
Did
it'd
you
be
know,
about 4
though,
hours
there's
to do
certain
the loop.
ways you're supposed to clear brush? I learned that from Cynthia when we walked over at Fieldstone Farm. The closer you lop off to the basic of the tree, the better off the tree is, instead of just doing the twigs. If you're on a horse of 16 hands, you don't care what you're doing, you're just breaking them.
You want a flush cut to the ground or the tree? That's my.
Yes.
Exactly.
So we want Hunter to
I
learn
hate-
something from
I
this.
Oh,
hate
no,
stubs on
we're
the
driving
ground,
the girls,
and I
too.
hate
Oh,
stubs
it's
off
not
of
Wait a minute,
trees.
he's got a cadre of help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ladies are coming too. Because
Well,
I have a feeling that none of the other boys from Scouts will show up to this. So, and I'm
be-
not going out there with just Hunter by himself. We're gonna drag the ladies too.
Okay, good.
Yeah, well, a significant part of doing that work is
Yeah.
dragging the debris off the trail into the woods.
Have you
It
met my
actually
kids?
takes more time than the actual cutting.
Trust me, we got it.
Okay, sounds
Yeah.
good.
They got mom as a wood horse, so they're used to doing all this dumb stuff. Like, nope, we're not done yet. We just cleared, we're putting in a garage. And we just cleared the trees from what we had to cut for the garage. And trust me, they were whining and complaining the whole time, but they were dragging all the limbs with me.
All right,
So we're meeting up at Mount Jeff?
yep,
So that was August 9th?
Yeah.
August 9th, 8:30.
All right, and if it rains, like the next day, are we gonna do this rain or shine? Just wanna,
Well, yeah, it's pouring rain.
If it's a monsoon, let's
Well,
not, but
the-
if it's just,
The next day is good with us, too. Both days, we don't have anything till 3 o'clock.
all right, so
Okay.
then we'll.
Tentative.
Yeah, tentatively the 9th, as long as it's not obviously
Yeah.
downpouring. If it's downpouring, then someone will make that call and
Yeah.
we'll do 10th.
Yep.
Okay.
It's good.
What
Just
makes you
so-
think it might rain?
Geez, I don't know. The
there's no
whole-
water left up there. So,
One would think, but yet it keeps coming.
right. So do you want to know when the next meeting is?
That's Susan. Susan, when's the next meeting?
Because August has 31 days, the 31st is a Tuesday, so the last Wednesday is August 25. Does that sound okay? And just by the way, we have a special town meeting this year, 10/18. in the October. I don't know what's on it yet, but CPA,
I have no idea.
Sandra said there were 2 requests, but then she didn't say what they were.
Yeah.
So I think, and I thought, well, I'll just wait, but I think I'll bug her and so I can be thinking about it. Oh, I think it might be the money for the playground because it's due in December, so we'll have to have a warrant for that on the meeting, so. Anyway. Oh, and Tim, I really appreciated your comment about the bridge. I thought that's nice because, you know, this guy, this engineer here, he does good work. So, and whoever else helped.
Well, in congestion, I'll like elaborate a little bit more, just not on that specific topic, but I've been working with the company that we got those materials from, trying to get a, they have a lot of products that they do for construction sites. They call it their Ready series, so they can deploy it quickly. Their design's already been done, so they have platforms and ladders and railing and stuff. And they're interested enough, the people I've been talking to get a trail crossing Ready series. And it won't, it'll be like all access, which would be strong enough for equestrian, snowmobiles, etc. That kind of a structure. So, and they'll have, they can be concatenated so that if you have a marshy area like at Dwelly that went 50 feet across, just a mucky area, you could concatenate them and have the support with various types of things. One is a pan made by custom manufacturing. But at any rate, we're not ready to deploy it, but people like Bay State, any organization associated with trails that has to do crossings would be really interested in it. So he and I have worked out quite a bit of details. He's taken it to his engineering people. They've been doing a lot of work on it, so it'll be an interesting thing to see what we come up with.
I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
demand for
Talk to
that.
Dick
from
O'Brien
people
just
that's
about
out
that.
there.
Cost-wise, and part of it is the significant increase in the cost of lumber, but I've done cost
Going
comparisons.
back down again.
I've done cost comparisons, and it's approximately the same. But even if it's like 30%, 40% more, it's got a lifespan. The products, the entire structure would have a lifespan of approximately 80 years versus with essentially zero maintenance. So
We'll be checking on that.
what?
We'll be checking on that.
It'll be.
Have you talked to Dick O'Brien about any of this stuff?
Well, he likes the general concept of this stuff, and so relative to some of the other things that we have done, he was part of the things that we talked about. He's the one that encouraged us to take the concepts and bring it to mass trails and things like that. So he's behind this. So when I get this, when I finish up, the company's Bedford, FRP, Bedford Fiberglass Reinforced Polymers. When we finish up and we can get a package that describes it and what you can do with it and things like
Take
that,
pictures.
as well as cost money. Pictures, they've got the engineering drawings, engineering sketches. The top coat, he and I have been working on that. Instead of what we did on our bridge where we put something underneath, we have a way we will fasten it on top of instead of underneath. Then you don't have to fill all the nooks and crannies. So it'll be exactly the same kind of concept of what we have done over on the Link Trail Bridge. So you just put in, 3/8 of an inch of pea stones on the top of it. So it'll function essentially like that. And if you use enough of the heavy enough fabric, then it'll function just like what we've got on the other bridges. So
Have to be very heavy.
yeah.
Have to be like an HDPE liner.
You think because
It is
it won't fall in
HDPE.
between the...
Yeah.
That's what I was
It's
thinking too.
Any geotextile, it's just gonna mash
No,
down into those.
It is a HDPE matting. So, and you can get that in various thickness. I've got thinner stuff, but you can get it like in a 1/2 inch thick, which would be really strong.
Yeah.
All right, so that's just a side note.
And another side note is
Go, Susan.
Okay. Well, I would just like to thank Mr. Rick for writing the thank you notes to both Bay State and Cross State, because they paid for it.
Oh, yeah.
Very
I
nice.
Yeah,
mean,
those-
you know, and we
Handwritten
ran it by
notes.
you, I believe,
Yep.
but just on behalf of the Open Space Committee. And what about Mr. Lane? Should we send him some sort of card on behalf, just because of his
Oh, Lance?
unfortunate, yeah?
Oh, yeah, that would be
Or
great.
is that disingenuous, because then if we have issues with the hay thing,
No, it'd still be appropriate to
it's still,
send a
that's a
card, yeah.
life-changing event.
And in the context of it, when I discuss this with him, I mean, it'll be whether he really wants to continue with this with the current situations that he's got.
So it's okay with everybody if we just get a,
That would be really nice.
some sort of an appropriate card and send it on behalf of everybody?
Yep,
Because that's tough stuff.
yep.
Yikes.
All right. Anything else?
Move to adjourn.
Second? Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Very good.